Happy Friday morning. Welcome into My Sweet Home Living. My name is Tracey Campbell, where I love to inspire you with creative and easy DIY crafting and decorating projects. If you love primitive, rustic, vintage style, then I'm your girl. And if you don't like those styles, I still hope you'll stick around that I can give you some ideas that you can modify to create in your own style today. And would love to have you come on in. I am a special segment today in an all day long series of live streaming shows in the Craft Run the Clock group on Facebook. You can check it out today. It's all day Dollar Tree craft ideas. And we're talking all day long. It's been going on already for a couple of hours this morning, and it'll go all the way up until almost midnight tonight. So if you like Dollar Tree craft ideas, head over to the Craft on the Clock group today or anytime during the next 30 days. And you can search the group for Dollar Tree, and you'll pull up lots of Dollar Tree craft ideas from today and any other day with some photo ideas. I'm so happy to see you all today. If you're watching this replay later on my YouTube channel, this is best viewed if you're using the YouTube app on your mobile device or tablet, iPad, or whatever. The YouTube app will give you the best viewing experience based on my orientation, my vertical orientation of my video today. So welcome in. I'm so excited you're here. Good morning, Miss Debbie. Good morning, Donna, Kathy, Dana, Jane, Debbie. So excited y'all are here. It's Dollar Tree Craft Day. Now, don't think that just because it's Dollar Tree craft ideas, that it may not be up to par because we are bringing you lots of fun DIY craft ideas with Dollar Tree items. And you guys, you can create lots of really cute things with Dollar Tree items. Did you know that? I hope you do. And if you don't, I hope you'll know after today for sure. I am getting us shared over into that group because we have lots of people waiting for us over there, and I want to make sure that I can see everybody today. Listen, showing up on your favorite creators' live streams on Facebook has never been more important than ever because they're not going to hang around for a long time. You got to show up when they're live or shortly after if you want to see them or watch them later, maybe on YouTube channels or whatever. But I'm telling you, you got to show up if you want to catch in on all the action. Good morning, Miss Mary. Good morning, Brenda. Hey, Miss Cynthia. How are you? Okay, I'm going to have comments on the left side and comments on the right side because guess what? We're at the sewing table today. But now don't let that deter you. If you're not a sewer, okay, I'm not really either. Or if you're just a beginner and you want to learn some techniques, this is very beginner friendly. And you can also do this same project using some fabric glue, hand stitching, or even some iron on heat and bond or heat and press bond. Is that what it's called? Heat and bond, I think. You can still use the same idea that I'm going to show you today. Hey, Miss Anita. Good morning, Miss Violet. Good morning, Miss Kelby, Miss Deborah, Miss Jane. Good morning. How are y'all? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Well, I have two projects on the table. I don't know if we'll get to both of them, but let me show you. If we don't get to both of them, I will show you how to do the second project with another video. Okay, if we don't get to the second one. I am using some Dollar Tree pot holders. And if we get to it, project number two, we'll be using a Dollar Tree dish drying mat. These are super easy to get your hands on anywhere, not just the Dollar Tree, but the Dollar Tree has them super inexpensive and they're perfect for creating some, say, coordinating things for your kitchen. So you all know that I love primitive style crafting. Wonder Under, that's, yes, Miss Terry Jo, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Yes, yes. So you can improvise is what I'm trying to say. I'm going to take these little tags off of these pot holders. I'm using some solid colored pot holders today, and you all know that I love things that are primitive style, right? So, a lot of things in my kitchen and dining room area, I have like the primitive stars and homespun and, those kinds of things. But you can kind of tailor this to fit your own little style. You can use different shapes and colors of other than what I'm using today. So really want you to think outside of the box using this same idea, but think outside of the box. Good morning, Miss Lisa Carolyn. We got lots of Lisas. Goodness, Jeanette, you got both of these in your stash. Well, then you're ready to go. You're ready to go. So I'm going to slide the dish mat over here out of the way. And these come in a 2-pack from the Dollar Tree. And you can get solid colors, which is going to lend itself well to what I'm going to do today. And there is a front and a back. Let's see. This is the front. Okay, let's work on one for now. We'll get through one and show you how it's made, and then I'm going to create like a matching set. These are perfect for little gift giving, like housewarming gifts. If you have some grandchildren that are getting married, getting homes or apartments of their own, these are perfect little gifts to give for that. Good morning, Miss Vicky. I've been up since like 4 a.m. this morning. How are you all? I was posting and sharing things with you all this morning at 4 a.m. Can you believe that? If you didn't see my dining room update, I did make a post on that this morning on my Sweet Home Living Facebook page. So check it out. Check it out. Okay. I have the warm and natural batting. The word left my brain for just a moment. I have some batting, and I'm just gonna cut. mm, Okay, let me show you what I'm doing. I'm making these pot holders, and I want them to have like a little rag stitched star in the center made out of some coordinating homespun material. Okay, so I'm using those solid black pot holders, and I want to create some little rag quilted stars on these pot holders. And listen, you don't have to use these for actual pot holders. These would be even really cute hanging. You could hang these from a little peg shelf. You could hang them along your backsplash area above your counters. You could even hang them on the knobs from your kitchen, like your cabinet drawer pulls or something like that. So, really, think outside of the box here. You could probably even sew two of these together with the little star motif on the front and have like a little hanging pocket as well. So, there's tons of ideas that you can use kind of spin off from this. Good morning. Good morning, Miss Sage. How are you, friend? Miss Sage will be live later today as part of our Dollar Tree Craft Day in Craft on the Clock. If you don't know where to find Craft on the Clock, it should pop up from the bottom of your screen if you're watching live on Facebook today. And if you're watching this on replay on YouTube, on my YouTube channel later, it will be in the video description for you because the Craft on the Clock group is the place to find all your live crafting because it's getting harder and harder to find. And we want to make it easier and easier for you to find. So just remember Craft on the Clock. Okay. Now, this is a metal star, okay? And it just so happens to be about the same size as my pot holder, okay? So I'm going to use this little metal star that I have, and I'm using this sort of as my template to cut out my star shape. Now, if you don't have a metal star that works, you can freehand one. You can find like a basic star shape on the internet and print it off and cut it out and make you a template. There's lots of ways to work around that. My tongue's getting tied this morning. Imagine that. I think my mouth is moving faster than my brain this morning. Okay, so I'm just going to cut a strip of my warm and natural. This is quilt batting. And you can find it in a big package, kind of like where you usually find like your stuffing, your polyfill for different things. And I'm also going to cut a strip. Now, this fabric has not been stained, okay? It's not been coffee stained, but you can definitely use coffee stained fabrics if you want. I just didn't do that with this set of fabric yet. Okay, let's cut. I'm just trying to make sure that this size is going to be big enough for my star. Now, I could have already pre-planned or pre-prepared all of these items that we're using today, but I like to take you along with me on especially these easier projects so that you can see if you're a beginner sewer, okay? If you're not quite as experienced, excuse me, with some of these techniques, Like, I'm not either, okay? So if I can do it, you can do it. And I want to show you exactly how. Crafting with Donnie, you just followed me. Welcome. I'm so excited to have you here. Okay, so I have both of these laying right here on my work surface. I have my warm and natural batting. You can use any colored batting. Your batting is really not going to show a lot. It might show around the edges a little bit. We're going to make a rag star quilted applique to go on our pot holders, okay? And so if the edges are going to show, you might want this creamier color of warm and natural batting, okay? Otherwise, batting is just like a really bright white. And I know that I don't want that really bright white color. So I'm going to take my shape of my star that I'm using as my template, and you can use like a magic or like an erasable or invisible pen, whatever you have. Like they have these special pens that the ink disappears when you like blow dry it with some heat. I had one at one time. I have no idea where it's at. So all I'm using is a Sharpie. In fact, I think I'm going to use my thicker Sharpie, because when I cut this out, you're really not going to end up seeing my marks when I'm finished here. But now, if you are working with fabric where your lines might show a little bit more, then get yourself one of those invisible ink pens. Okay. You can grab them at any craft supply store, even places like Walmart, usually have them as well. Okay. I'm just outlining this primitive star shape onto my fabric, and then I'm going to cut it out. And when I cut it out, let me lift it up. There we go. That's our shape right there. Okay. When I cut it out, I'm going to cut through the thickness of the batting and the material. Okay. Now, to help keep it there, good morning, Miss Dana. Yes, friction pins. That's what they're called at Walmart. Thank you, Miss Dana. I'm going to use some little pins, straight pins, to pin these pieces together so that when I begin cutting, they will kind of keep their placement, if you will. All right. Um, Hello. Hey, Miss Mindy. You love that material, Elizabeth. This is your classic black and tan homespun, and you can pretty much get this anywhere. But it just fits my color scheme really well with what I have going on in my kitchen and dining area. So that's why I chose this. And I have a lot of fabric like this as well. Now, let me just tell you something real quick. This would be a shortcut for you. If you, I'm still here. If you have some quilt scraps, okay? These are some quilt scraps from my friend Esmeralda at Lovett's Garden. You can find her on Facebook. She has live sales a lot of time of vintage materials and fabrics and things like that. If you want to do this, if you have some vintage quilt scraps, you can kind of skip this step right here and go ahead and cut out your shape, because all of your layers are already here on this. So you have a back piece of material, and you have your batting, and you have a front piece of fabric. So that would be, you would already have that there. All you would have to do is just cut out your shape and apply it to your pot holder. So that's a little shortcut method right there. Now I'm going to take my fabric scissors and I'm going to cut along the outside of this star shape. Are you kidding me? Hopefully. I just about don't have enough. Just about ran that star corner right off the edge of that batting. I didn't realize that. Stars are a great shape to start with if you're a beginner. Um, to keep it simple, those straight lines work really well in making things easier for you. Good morning, Miss Rachel. How are you? Miss Lisa, homespun material is your favorite. Mine too. And really, homespun can come in lots of different colors and patterns. Do you all know technically the the definition of homespun fabric is really just a fabric that has the same coloring on both sides. So if you look at this, let me pull this apart because I have two layers here. If you look at this, it's the same color on one side as it is the other. Whereas some fabrics, let me grab one that I have here. Some fabrics, this will be a good example. Let me grab this one. Some fabrics, gosh, I'm dropping everything. Um, some fabrics all have the bright, pretty side, and then they have a faded back side. This is not considered homespun because it has that faded side. Homespun is any fabric material that has the same coloring on both sides because it's an actual woven fabric, meaning your colors are visible from both sides. So there's a little fun fact for you. If you didn't know that, hopefully you learned something new today. Okay, let's finish cutting this star out. See, missed that little corner piece right there. You will keep chiming in instead of cutting. Yes, you're right, Penny. I could totally do that. And that's the newbie with me. That's the newbie with me. But I kind of want to see it centered. But Miss Penny was suggesting that you can sew this directly on to your pot holder before you cut the shape out. You could sew along those marker lines, if you will, and that could definitely work. In fact, I've seen many people do that. In my mind, I want to see the shape first, right? I hope we're not frozen. I'm frozen over here on my iPad. Okay, so let's take this Dollar Tree pot holder, okay? And we're going to place it right on here. And as you can tell, I kind of like to see where my boundaries are right here, where my outline, my edges are, not only of my star, but also of my pot holder. I want to be able to line it up. Are we frozen? There we go. Okay. Line it up along the edges and get it really good and centered. So that's what I'm working with. Now, our star is it looks a little large right now. However, when we're finished, it's gonna appear a little bit smaller because we're gonna give it that rag quilting edge, okay? Hey, Miss Terry. Hello, Miss Elizabeth. So let's bring over Lady Singer here. Let's bring over Lady Singer. Now, I apologize. This does appear backwards because, I'm not able to flip my camera view for you all. So it looks backwards. However, I promise you everything is normal here in real life. What kind of scissors are these? These are, I think these are just Fiskars. Yeah, Fiskars. I get them in the sewing department at Walmart. They're great. They are great. All right. So once I kind of get it where I want it on that pad, I'm going to take a couple other straight pins and I'm going to go through, I believe. Let's see if we can do this. This is quite a thickness. Actually, real quick, I forgot to do something. I do need to unpin this. I want to take, I cut through two pieces of this homespun. So I'm going to take one piece and I'm going to put it on the back. Okay. Like so. So I have a nice little sandwich there. Material, batting, and another piece of material. That's my little sandwich, okay? Now, let's get this back on here and centered. And let's pin it. I'm going to take my pin through the center here, through the pot holder, and pull it back up. And I want to get that pinned on there so that it helps keep it in place. One more. Let's do one more. Kind of keep these bottom pieces from moving around too much on me. Okay. Now, when I sew this, I'm going to sew a little bit inside. I'm not going to sew right on the edge, okay? I'm going to probably have about a 1/4 inch seam allowance, which means my stitching is, if you were to look, a quarter of an inch away from the edge, inside the edge, that is where I'm going to run my stitch line. And what that's going to do is going to give me a little bit of overhang that we are going to clip in a little bit. And that's going to give us that little rag star effect. Hey, good morning, Miss Linda. Patricia, how are you? Hey, Miss Lulu, how are you, friend? Okay. Now, this is quite a bit thicker than what I usually sew through, so hopefully this will work. If not, we're gonna be up creek. That's what we're gonna be, up a creek. And up a creek right now in Kentucky is not a place where you want to be. Okay, all right. Just kind of work it and get it where you need it to be. It takes a little bit of maneuvering, okay? I'm going to zoom in a little bit because I want you to be able to see a little bit closer. Let's adjust the camera up a little bit. Um, because this is kind of the important step here as well. And especially for those of you that are newer, you need to see this step, okay? Now I have a pin under there. I'm going to take that pin out. I don't want to sew over my straight pins, okay? That might break my thread. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the edge. This is my presser foot, this little silver piece right here. Let's zoom in a little bit more if we can. That's the edge of my presser foot. I'm going to keep track as I sew along this edge. I'm going to keep the edge of my star right along the edge of my silver presser foot. Okay. So I'm starting right there in that little corner. Once you get it placed where it's going to start. Now I have a little wheel over here on the side of my sewing machine. Let me show you. Have a little wheel right here on the side of my sewing machine. I'm going to spin it to me, okay? And when I spin it to me, something happens. It lowers this needle, okay? It lowers the needle down into my fabric. And then I'm ready to sew, except for I need to get my little presser foot that gives me power. I need to get it closer to me. All right, so here we go. I'm going to start slow. And when I start, I'm going to do a little back stitch. And all that means is it's going to go frontwards and then backwards 2 times. And that helps lock my thread in place so that it doesn't come unsewn later. Okay, so I'm going to go slow. 1, 2. Now I'm going to go back. Hold on, I know my finger's in the way there. Sorry about that. Now we're going to go slow all the way to the, almost all the way to the corner of this star. Right there. I'm stopping with my needle down in my fabric. Okay. Now I'm going to raise my presser foot. Oh, did I have that up the whole time? Oh, holy moly. It was so thick I didn't even realize it, and it didn't realize it either. Okay, let's stitch down this way. I'm going to go ahead and take this pin out because I'm going to sew over it here in just a minute. And I don't want that to happen. I'm going to move it over here for right now because we're not sewing in this little area. Okay. On down we go. We're just going to trace the inside of this star. I need it down in my fabric. I'm going to rotate it again. And we're going to go down this side. Lower my presser foot and on we go. Down to the corner here. I am going slow because I feel like I have better control that way. If you feel like you can go a little faster, you definitely can. I need my needle down. And when I flip that, did you all see what happened? Let me grab my little skewer stick. Because it has a little pointed edge and it's perfect for my little piece, my little point of my star right there is getting curled up and I don't want that to happen. So if that happens, just take you a little skewer stick or something and move it back where it needs to go. And this will be forgiving. So this is another great project to do if you are a beginner because it is forgiving, okay? You really can't mess it up too much. Let's sew down to the next stopping point. I'm going to stop right there. Lift it up. We'll need to spin it this way. Actually, I'm not. Let me go one more stitch in. There we go. Now turn it. I'm getting a little bit of a problem here. My fabric is wanting, I'm getting too close. I've kind of lost my line here. I'm getting a little too far in. So my line's probably going to be a little bit wobbly and crooked, but that's okay because I'm going to show you how we're going to disguise that in a little bit, okay? Um, let's spin it. We don't have very much more left to go. Get back under there. Okay. Spin it. Let's move this straight needle, the straight pin rather, and let's go down the side. Woohoo! Got feisty on me there. Okay, needle down. We're gonna spin it. We're gonna go down. We have 2 more points to go here, so let's just keep on trucking. If you see your fabric starts to curl up, just use that little skewer stick and press it right back under there, and you're good to go again. I love using that little skewer stick. It comes in so handy. Okay, raise it up. Rotate it again. All right, now I have some little boo-boos, and we're going to talk about those here in just a little bit. That's why I said don't fret too much about it being absolutely perfect, okay? If you fret about it being perfect, it becomes not fun for you, okay? So, really, this is a great learning experience project. I mean, the pot holders, for Pete's sake, they're $1.25. We're using just, you could probably even get away with a few scrap pieces of fabric. You're not out a whole lot of money here, so don't fret, okay? People pay more for taking classes than they do just learning by experience, and just chalk this up to a learning experience. If you mess up, you're good. Okay, I'm back to my meeting spot, okay? So what I need to do, I'm back to the very first part of that star that I started my stitching. So now what I'm going to do, let me zoom out. I'm going to back stitch because I need to seal that last thread in. I'm going to press this reverse button, and that's going to give me a couple of stitches backwards, and that's going to help secure that thread in place. There we go. Now I'm going to stop with my needle up out of my fabric. Okay, raise my presser foot, and I'm going to slowly pull this away, and let's zoom back out. Shall we? All right. Now I want to see you guys again. How are you? How are you? I'm here. If you all are joining after I took the camera off my face, welcome in. Glad that you're here. I'm just going to cut my loose threads. Now you can see, I don't know if you all can see on the back, I have my little star stitching right there. Do you see that? So those are our stitch lines. Now, you're going to have some loose threads or some ravelings, as we call them, ravelings. Don't fret about that. You're wanting this to look like a little rag piece of a quilt, okay? So here's what we're going to do. These little tension scissors are great for this. So if you look at my star, it looks kind of messy. It looks kind of messy. But that's what I'm telling you, it's kind of forgiving. These rag stitch quilting pieces are really easy to hide any kind of stitching mistakes that you may have made. Hey, Miss Esmeralda. Hey, Miss Donna. So take your little tension scissors and you're going to snip. So I want you to look real close. Do you see my line of stitches? If you look really close, you'll be able to see that line. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to just snip around the edge. And I'm going to do that all the way around my star. But be careful. You do not want to snip or cut through your stitch line. If you cut through your stitch line, guess what? Your star is going to come off because your stitch line is what's holding all of these pieces of fabric together. Okay, so we're just going to go around this star and we're just going to make our snips. Now, it won't look as cute as it will until after you wash it, okay? When you wash it, it helps just kind of loosen that fabric and really kind of ruffles up the edges. But I'll kind of ruffle it up for you here in just a little bit, and you'll kind of get of an idea. But if you've ever seen a rag quilt, and if you've not, you can just Google rag quilt. Rag quilting has little quilt pieces or blocks or squares, whatever shapes you use, and they have it kind of looks like a little rough, tattered edges to them. And that's kind of the effect that we're going for here. So you're going to stamp about every quarter of an inch, if you will. Um, Now my corners, I'm going to trim these a little bit. Snip every probably eighth of an inch or maybe even closer than that if you want. But you want some little flaps. Okay, now I'm keeping an eye on our time. We're fine on time, so I'm gonna snip this all the way around. I probably would take a little bit more care and attention if I were not doing this on a live, but I want to speed along and you all to be able to see how cute this looks once you get it put together. Mm. You could use this same idea on lots of different things. So let me snip this a little bit. You can make some little, oh goodness, some little throw pillows, um, pillow covers. Okay, throw pillow covers are a perfect idea to use this on. You could apply the same idea to some dish towels. Maybe some Bible or book covers. Okay, you could use the same idea on. Make your item or buy an item if you like start with a solid base. If you find like a solid cover um, little tote bag, you could apply this same method to that. Ugh, my hands are starting to cramp up on me. All right, I'm going to stop right there for just a minute. And I'm going to just take my hands. You like this? Oh, thank you, Miss Jessica. Applique on a sweatshirt. Yes, Miss Jane. I have been eyeballing some of those. I'm so wanting to make one of those. Now, here's just a fair warning. If you use black, you're going to get some fuzzies on this, okay? Especially until after you wash it a few times. Just take you a lint roll or roll it off. And after you wash it, it's going to kind of condition it. And then you'll eventually start seeing less and less of the fuzzies, okay? Um, and I'm just kind of trimming some of these long corners a little bit. But you can see now you could use totally different colors. You might not want to use a black pot holder, but you will get fuzzies off of this until you wash it a few times. But um, when you wash, it ruffles these corners, these edges, okay? Do you see like that? That gives you the little rag quilt stitching look. I have not done it up here, and you can see the difference, right? See the difference there? How big is this star? Let's measure it. Let's see. This is about five. I'm just going to say it's a 5-inch star. Okay. So if you want to, just a 5-inch star. You may just Google a 5-inch star. If you don't, just or freehand you a template and cut it out of like cardstock or cardboard, something that you can reuse. Okay. Now, what other shapes would be so cute with this? A heart would look darling. Okay. Um, that would look super cute. Now, else I was going to do today, and I don't think we're going to have enough time. We've got know, we might be able to start on it. I was going to use one of these Dollar Tree dish mats and make a larger star applique on the dish mat. And I think that would be cute to have some coordinating pieces in your kitchen that are all similar. All right. So take it, ruffle it, wash it, wash it a few times. Now, the more edging you have or that you leave overhanging, uh, the more ruffle, if you will, that you're going to see. Okay. But isn't that sweet? I think that's so cute. Now, you could coffee stain this. Okay. And that would probably help darken your edges of your batting. Now, will it wash out the coffee stain? Probably a little bit. But you could probably heat set it and it might stay in there a little bit better. You like this, Pixie? It's something easy. And like I said, it's something good to experiment with. Okay, it really is. And I'm holding it like sideways. There. That it's not sideways. I'm holding it sideways. But isn't that darling? And you could, like I said, you could make these and use these to hang off your drawer pulls. Okay, you could hang them on the wall. Honestly, you could make a little set of three of them or something and hang them on your backsplash area. I think that would be darling. So, as I was showing you earlier, if you have some of these quilt scrap pieces, you can do the same thing. You don't even have to, all the pieces of fabric are there for you. You would just have to cut out your shapes. So a lot of people I'm seeing, and Miss Jane mentioned this earlier, which is another reason why I'm bringing this up too. A lot of people are using these quilt scrap pieces. They may be cutting out shapes or letters, and they're doing this same method on a sweatshirt. Wouldn't that not be cute? I could cut out the words or the letters to spell love out of this quilt scrap and applique. That's what this is called. I'm appliquing those pieces to a sweatshirt. Would that not be precious? It would be a little bit bigger size of a project, but if you do a couple of these, you kind of get your hand, get used to it. It definitely makes it easier. Now, we do have a few minutes, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you these dish mats. You could use these for other things other than a dish mat, okay? Now, this coordinates perfect with my color scheme here. And this is from the Dollar Tree as well, okay? They have all kinds of different colors, and sometimes they'll even have different, like seasonal prints. So you could really get creative. With your color scheme. Okay, let me slide Lady Singer back here. All right, let me get all my little rag quilting is best, or little rags, the clippings. It's probably better to do it over a trash can. I've got it all over me. um, be cute for Christmas too with a tree. Yes, Shayna, that would be absolutely precious. If you just find if you're at Goodwill and you find some quilt scraps and you think, what can I do with those? That would be perfect. Um, Absolutely perfect. So with this dish mat, I was thinking about kind of making this sort of like a placemat, honestly, sort of with the same idea. Only I was going to use a much larger star on this. Um, I'm getting all these little threads. So I could cut out a larger star shape, okay, and applique that onto this dish mat. And this would be perfect placemat, size. Or you could use it as a hot pack, sort of. I probably wouldn't use it for drying my dishes on if I do the applique on it. But do you see how those all kind of coordinate? The colors of the homespun coordinate with the color of the dish drying mat. You could make an absolutely precious little set. You love the star? Well, I think it's super easy too. Now, I don't have, did I bring a big star in here? Um, let's see. That's a little bit bigger of a star right there. The one I used, this was a little bit smaller. See the size difference there? So probably for this one, I would probably cut out a much larger star and applique that right to the center there. We can start on that. We have 6 minutes. You love it? I think so too. Now, Miss Esmeralda, she has some beautiful fabrics that would lend themselves so well to this sweet little project. All right, so guess what? We have just the right size of piece of fabric and batting, so let's go for it. Let's go for it. And I'm going to try to line up, this fabric has a line to it, so I'm going to try to line up my star a little bit. And I'm going to just trace out each point and then repeat the same process. Now, if you're a beginner, I would start with the pot holder first, okay? Because it's going to be easier to maneuver under your sewing machine. So let me see what questions you have. Uh, Oh, yes, Rhonda, that would be cute too. Make 3 stars. She said if you didn't want to make a big star, you could put 3 of these little stars across the center. That would be precious. Yes, she does, Miss Dana. Yes, she does. She has some beautiful fabrics. Now, where'd my little straight pins go? I'm going to pin these together. Um, Now, I like what I like to do. You saw how I put a piece of material on the front and the back side of the batting, like my little sandwich that I created. I like to do that because it gives me a little bit more color. I see a little bit more of my fabric when I do that. If you don't make that little sandwich, that extra layer of fabric there, you're not going to be able to see your colors as well along the edges. You'll see just more of the white fuzzy. But since I've included that back piece of fabric, you see a little bit more of the color of material there. So that's a quick little tip for you. Let me see what other questions we have. Oh, I'm so glad. Now listen, this is Dollar Tree Craft Day over in the Craft on the Clock group, you guys. It's going to be absolutely a day filled with fantastic ideas, all with items that you for sure can get your hands on. So, a lot of times you might see creators using items that maybe you don't have or maybe you don't have access to. But I bet you, almost all of you, can get your hands on some Dollar Tree items. And I can't wait to see what you all create with these. Could you use fabric glue to seal the star? Because absolutely, you sure could. You sure could. And you can also, and I talked about this at the beginning, and some of you may have not been on at that time, but you can also use something called heat and bond or wonder under. Okay. And what that does is you iron, I have some somewhere, but I didn't have that prepared to show you. But it's a type of material. Well, it's not really material, but it's basically glue on a sheet, if you will. That's my best way of describing it. It's glue on a sheet, but you iron that wonder under or heat and bond to your fabric, and you could iron it straight on to your piece. Now, it might be a little trickier to get your rag edges, okay? But I have faith in you, and you can figure that out if that's something you choose to do. You just wouldn't want to glue the entire piece of fabric down. You would want to leave some room around the edges so that you could make the little snips in your fabric to get the little rag quilting effect. Okay. Now, let's see who's up after me today. I don't even remember. I've got to look at my schedule real quick. So I'm about to sign off. And you see, I'm going to be sitting here watching all day long while I finish some projects and get some ideas. I'll be seeing you in the comments all day today in the Craft on the Clock group. So you all stay tuned. A new DIY Dollar Tree craft ideas coming your way every 45 minutes today. Every 45 minutes. All right. I'll talk to you soon. So good to see you all. 3 days in a row. Can you believe it? I'll talk to you soon. Have a wonderful weekend.